what are we looking at? Well, of course, a redneck Cadillac and a solid aluminum Pappas one-piece gun rest. There's several $100s worth of aluminum there, not to count the workmanship, and so that's why that thing runs around $600–700. And a high precision bench rest rifle, 22 long rifle caliber. It's got a Weaver T36 scope on it, which means it's 36 times magnification. This is a single shot, and when I say single shot, I mean totally single shot. You open the bolt, put one round in it, close the bolt, and fire it. This rifle has got a 2-ounce trigger. All you have to do is just touch the trigger and it'll fire. So once you're on target, there's nothing to disturb your aiming or your firing. That gun's going to hit right on the spot. And in fact, if there's no wind, you can put all your bullets in the same hole, and that's no bull. Now, of course, this gun in the neighborhood of $2,000 will get you a gun just like that. This one's custom made by Avilio McDonald, who used to be over in Houston, but he's moved to Wimberley, Texas, and I'm not sure how a person would contact him there to buy one. Anyway, and this is a Savage MKII. This one is also bolt action, and it comes from the factory with an AccuTune trigger. It's got 2 pounds of trigger pull. It'll hold 5 rounds or 10 rounds, depending on which magazine you put in it. When I was using it for bench rest shooting, I just used the 5-round magazine mostly, and it could come close to putting them all in the same hole. If they're not all in the same hole, it'll be a nice tight group. I got it's not going to match the custom-made bench rest rifle, but it's surely a good one. That's what they'd call a tack driver. It'd run you around $400. And this is a Ruger 1022. It's got a CV Life 6x24 scope, and all these scopes, well, at least the Barska scope and the CV Life have 50 millimeter objective lenses, which gives you a nice bright picture. They can't beat the Weaver T36, but then they didn't cost $450 a piece either. Alright, so this 1022 has a trigger that I've managed to get down just a little bit below 2 pounds of pull. It's got a few custom parts like a ejector and trigger return spring, and what else did I put in it? Can't remember right now, not a whole lot. Oh yeah, a lighter spring for the bolt so that it wouldn't jam so much. And this one can shoot a nice group. It can't put them all in the same hole, and anybody that says it can may be fabricating the story some. Anyway, it does shoot a nice, reasonably tight group, probably an inch, inch and a half, and it's a semi-automatic, holds 10 rounds unless you've got a 25-round magazine, in which case it'll hold 25 rounds. So I guess you're wondering, why is the old geezer got his redneck Cadillac loaded down with rifles? Some of you know we're going to go to the range, and what we're going to do, we're going to set up 3 targets, and we're going to shoot at them and see what the difference is between these rifles. I don't know if I mentioned it, the Ruger, that's a $200 rifle, so it's 10 times cheaper than the bench rest rifle. Of course, most people that buy one, they get a Volquartsen barrel, and then they get a Volquartsen trigger set up, and then they get a custom stock, and when they got through, it's about $1,200. So anyway, this is stock totally. And once we get to the range, we'll set up 3 targets. We'll we'll shoot from sandbags or whatever. I'll use the Pappas rest with the bench rest rifle because it fits on there without any problem. I'll probably put a bipod on the Savage because it and the Ruger don't fit this rest very good. And I don't have a bipod or anything that fits the 1022, so we'll just have to prop it up on my range bag or something and shoot from there. I'm trying to be as fair with them as I can, but you know, there's limitations based on the design. I'm Harold, and this is the Amateur Redneck Workshop. We're not going to work on any kind of a shop project today. Let me move that camera so you can see my beautiful head. Like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the range and play with these rifles. I've been a whole week laying laminate floor and listening to it thunder and rain outside, and I think maybe tomorrow will be clear. If it's not, then it may be a day or two before we go to the range. But anyway, eventually we're going to go to the range with these three rifles, and we're going to do the comparison. Okay, let's get on with it. Well, there we go. Kind of bouncy road, huh? According to the weatherman, we've got 10 mile per hour wind from the east, which I'd say is from our left here. Well, it's not an ideal day to shoot for groups. You got to do what you can with what you got. Let's see if we can zoom in on the targets out there. Whoa, they're lots higher up than that. There they are. And I guess that I will just start from the left and go to the right. I'm going to move the tripod up a little bit to the front here. That should be okay. I'll fire 2 or 3 shots sort of up to the right on each target with each rifle, just to warm up the barrel. And then we'll get 5 shots at the target. I'll start on the right target with the bench rest rifle. Alright, 3 rounds in the upper right of the right hand target. Warm up the barrel. Alright, I'll put the crosshairs on the bullseye with 5 rounds and see where they go. Alright, that was 5 rounds. Yes, I can't count good. And other than the one that was a little bit low, which I think was me moving around. But anyway, they looked to be pretty near the same hole. I would have done a lot better if I hadn't had this wind blowing from the left. But anyway, that's what we got there. And I'll change out rifles. Alright, now we got the Savage MKII. Fire a couple rounds in the upper right there, give or take. And then fire 5 in the center. Alright, that was 3 rounds to warm up the barrel. I'll load it up with 5 and we'll shoot for a group. Alright, here we go. I think that means it's empty. Alright, be back in just a second with the 1022. Okay, the 1022, same routine. 3 sort of warm-up shots for the barrel in the upper section, and then I'll aim for the bullseye and we'll see what kind of group we get. So the 1022 did a pretty good showing out here in the wind. I had the scope set for high velocity, and for this video I've been using Ely match, which is 1,070 foot per second, and the stuff I had this scope set for was the high velocity 1,200 and something foot per second. So of course it shot a little bit lower when I was aiming at the bullseye, but there you are. That's a comparison of custom bench rest rifle, a a Savage Mark II and a Ruger 1022. And I have to say it, the CV Life scope was a lot brighter than the Barska scope that I've got on the Savage. So it's a shame they don't make a stronger scope than that. Oh well. Well, time for me to take my pistol now. I'm going to do a little practice because Steel Challenge is this Sunday. Tin Can Alley, which is right next to us there. The Tin Can Alley is for 22 long rifle only, but it's got a big puddle of water right in front of the targets. So I moved over here to this one. Should have brought my 45. We'll see if a 22 can knock over those bowling pins if I hit them up right up near the top. If I can hit them up near the top. Well, I guess we'll just have to give it a go and find out. Boy, am I surprised. Oh well. I seem to be out of ammo. I'll have to reload. Alright, you've seen enough of me practicing. I'll practice all by myself now. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll shoot the little dueling tree once. This dueling tree is for the big caliber guns. It's right over there to the left. But we'll see if a 22 will move it around anyway. Don't seem to have enough oomph to move them every time, but most of the time, that's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to practice in peace and let you guys sleep. Daisy, Daisy dog, come here. Come here, girl. Come here, Daisy. Come here, girl. Come here. Come here, girl. You see this bucket with the names in it? Do you want to draw the names? Huh? Do you want to draw them? Oh, you don't? Want me to draw them myself? You see right here? I got all these names. Okay? I got to draw them myself. All right then. Well, I'll just draw it. All right. Okay, so Daisy says I got to draw the names myself. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. I've got 4 names. I got them on paper and they're in the hat. So I'll reach my hand down in here and grab a hold of one of them. And we'll open it up and there we go. It's Thomas Hunt. You got the multi-tester. So you need to send me your mailing address so I can get this thing on the road. Alright, and remember to keep on keeping on. Well, it seems that Ole and Sven woke up one morning and they were down in hell. And so they were kind of surprised. The devil come along and checked on them. They were sitting there in their, parkas and their big heavy hats and all this and mittens, and sitting there, and they'd made a little fire and they were warming their hands, and the devil says, "Oh, what's the matter with you guys?" He says, isn't it too hot for you?" And so Sven says, "Well, we're from northern Minnesota, the land of ice and snow and cold. We're just happy for the chance to warm up a bit, don't you know?" So that irritates the heck out of the devil, and he's thinking about it. And the next day he goes in and he turns the heat up extra high, and goes in there and they're still there, doing the same thing. They got a fire and they're warming their hands. And he says, "Don't you guys feel just a little bit uncomfortable?" And and Odie says, no, we're from northern Minnesota, where it's the land of ice and snow and cold. He says, we're just happy to have a chance to warm up a little. Oh, that just drives the devil, up the wall. So he goes down and he turns the heat all the way up to the maximum, and all the people in hell are just screaming and tearing up the things. They're just miserable as everything, suffer something awful. He goes back in there to see Ole and Sven, and they're sitting there in short sleeve shirts, and they're roasting some fish over a fire and drinking beer. And the devil, he says, what? He says, just what in the heck is this now? And Ole says, oh, he says, we're from northern Minnesota, the land of ice and cold and snow. He says, and when the weather turns up nice and warm like this, he says, we like to cook some fish and have some beer. And oh, that just drives the devil completely nuts. He just almost goes wild. He's so mad he can't see straight. So he goes back to his office and thinks on it some, and he figured, I know what I'll do, and he just turns the heat completely off. So the next morning when he goes back through there, it's way below zero, and everybody in hell is just so cold and miserable and shaking so much they can't even complain. They don't have the strength to complain. And he gets in there with Ole and Sven, and there they are. They got their parkas back on and their big hat and their mittens, and they're just jumping around, high-fiving each other and so happy, And the devil says, what in the world's the matter with you two? He says, I turn it up so hot, that it's incredibly horrible. He says, I turn the heat off. It's frozen up down here. He says, just exactly what's the matter with you two? Why are you so happy? Well, says Ole, we woke up this morning and it's the coldest everything. He says, and hell is frozen over. And he says, we're so happy because we know the Vikings are bound to win the Super Bowl. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.